Alright, this is the 1000 subscriber special. Oh yeah. Now I know some of you might be thinking, 1000 subscriber special? Aren't you a little late? You have like 2,400 now. Well, yeah, let me explain. Last year when I hit 1000 subscribers, I made a video asking people to nominate a bad game for review. I selected 5 of the nominees and put them up to a vote, and South Park won. Now in this review, we're actually going to have a look at 3 South Park games, namely South Park Rally, Chef's Love Shack, and finally, South Park for the N64. Now before I begin, I really want to get 2 points across. Firstly, all 3 of these games were also released on the PlayStation, but for this review, we're going to have a look at the N64 versions. And secondly, this game isn't bad. I asked you guys to nominate and vote for a bad game, and you actually managed to do the exact opposite. But this is what you voted for, so this is what you're getting. Okay, let's start with South Park Rally. Now you can already guess what this is going to be like. I mean, South Park and racing? I suspected, even before putting the cartridge in, that this was going to be a Mario Kart clone. And this notion was further reinforced during the first 5 minutes of the game. I mean, item boxes, weird obstacles on the track, weapons to mess up other racers, just like in Mario Kart. Well, to be fair, the town constitutes the first track, so in that aspect it's more like racing in Grand Theft Auto than in Mario Kart. Likewise, there are these checkpoints that you have to cross in a certain order, and it's up to you to keep track and find the most efficient way to each checkpoint. Surprisingly, the next track actually dispels any notion of this being a Mario Kart clone. In this race, you have to capture a trophy and then take it through all the checkpoints. When the race begins, the trophy is somewhere out there on the track and everyone scrambles in order to get it. Once someone captures the trophy, he or she is supposed to drive through all the checkpoints while avoiding the other drivers. If another driver bumps the one holding the trophy, then they obtain the trophy and pick up where the previous driver left off. The next track isn't even like a race. Everyone here is infected with mad cow disease, and your goal is to capture an antidote and hold it while avoiding the other drivers. While you're in possession, your sickness level goes down, and if you're hit or otherwise compromised by another driver, then that driver will gain the antidote. The race, if you can even call it that, is over when one of the drivers is fully cured. The next race is, well, even weirder. It takes place in Big Gay Al's mansion, and you're supposed to get a bow and shoot all the other drivers. Like the antidote and trophy before it, if another driver rams you, you lose the bow. The race is over when one of the drivers shoots all the other drivers. It's a pain in the ass because once you get the bow, all the other drivers chase you to try to get the bow, and it's difficult to shoot anyone because everyone will be behind you, and when you try to turn around, they are right there to hit you and take your bow. Well, that's as far as I got in this game. I guess this could be fun if you're playing with friends, but as a solo game, I wouldn't bother. South Park Rally does in fact borrow a lot of elements from Mario Kart, but it's different enough to keep it from being a complete knockoff. Overall, this was okay. The next game up is Chef's Love Shack. Now I actually played this game once back in 2000 on the PlayStation, and I didn't recall it being all that bad. The closest thing I can compare it to would be something like Mario Party, but I haven't played that in ages, so don't quote me on that. It's essentially a game show where you answer random questions from a variety of topics like the 1991 Denver Broncos, aliens, assholes, and anal probes, or lesbian role models. You score points by answering these questions correctly, and some of them are specific to the show, so you won't have any clue unless you've seen the episodes. You can play up to 4 players, but you need at least 2 because playing this by yourself is rather pointless. Sometimes you get a double down where you can set the number of points at stake, and at other times, well, more interesting things happen.
You dumbass hippie motherfuckers, my damn ass is sore as hell!
You also score points by playing these gameplay rounds. Gameplay rounds consist of these silly mini-games similar to games you'd find on the Atari or the Flash section of eBaum's World. And some examples would be games where you test your memory and eye coordination. catch water balloons, spray insecticide at bugs, kinda like in Donkey Kong 3, or shooting butts. Yeah, shooting butts. At the end of the game, the player with the most points wins, and beyond that, there's really not a whole lot to say. I can see this being a lot of fun for a bunch of South Park fans, but this won't float everyone's boat. Well, that covers the first two games. Join us for part 2, and we'll have a look at the game you all voted for, South Park 64.